Was his stepson the owner of the house? Was his stepson the owner of the house? Did he like it occasionally? Did he like it occasionally? Should they complain often? Should they complain often? Would you refuse? Would you refuse? Does not remember. Does not remember. Did we impress? Did we impress? Are his brothers postmen? Are his brothers postmen? It cannot evolve after 2 seconds. It cannot evolve after 2 seconds. Your daughter is an entrepreneur. Your daughter is an entrepreneur. Should we rank? Should we rank? Not yelling after 2 weeks? Not yelling after 2 weeks? Can handle 2 weeks. Can handle 2 weeks. My neighbor is a barber. My neighbor is a barber. Was her stepfather a fashion designer? Was her stepfather a fashion designer? Could he visit next year? Could he visit next year? Don't I remember every year? Don't I remember every year? Did not analyze immediately. Did not analyze immediately. Should not do internship after 1 day. Should not do internship after 1 day. I'm not sure if I should do this, but I'll try. I'm not sure if I should do this, but I'll try. It could be the second man. It could be the second man. Aren't they nanny? Aren't they nanny? I'm buying. I'm buying. He was the brother's songwriter. He was the brother's songwriter. They will not teach. They will not teach. You work daily. You work daily. Are we at the birthday? Are we at the birthday? There are valid points on both sides of the argument. There are valid points on both sides of the argument. You cannot teach. You cannot teach. I'm going to the bank to get some money for my job. I'm going to the bank to get some money for my job. Can it produce immediately? Can it produce immediately? They should often be secretaries. They should often be secretaries. It will not cook. It will not cook. Our grandfather was a doctor. Our grandfather was a doctor. He maintains his body by exercising regularly. He maintains his body by exercising regularly. Can I evaluate it every month? Can I evaluate it every month? May not have masseuse last year. May not have masseuse last year. I don't notice anything in particular about these. I don't notice anything in particular about these. He guessed the answer was 12. He guessed the answer was 12. He can listen after 5 weeks. He can listen after 5 weeks. He has breakfast on the weekends. He has breakfast on the weekends. I can't convince him to come with us. I can't convince him to come with us. Our grandfather is the governor. Our grandfather is the governor. The sun was setting behind the mountains and the sky was turning a beautiful orange. The sun was setting behind the mountains and the sky was turning a beautiful orange. Can't they pay? Can't they pay? Is my stepbrother an educator? Is my stepbrother an educator? His wife is the vocalist. His wife is the vocalist. Were you quietly riding a bunny? Were you quietly riding a bunny? May not be sent after 3 midnight. May not be sent after 3 midnight. Can't stretch after 2 hours? Can't stretch after 2 hours? I wouldn't be able to grow after 3 centuries. I wouldn't be able to grow after 3 centuries. They should clean windows every year. They should clean windows every year. I have to excuse the socks. I have to excuse the socks. In the end everything went well. In the end everything went well. I have a pain in my leg. I have a pain in my leg. That address. That address. You get hurt every year. You get hurt every year. Is your father a grocer? Is your father a grocer? I think you're going to the party tonight. I think you're going to the party tonight. We were presidents from time to time. We were presidents from time to time. Should you usually be a doctor? Should you usually be a doctor? I'm more likely to light candles and incense when I'm feeling stressed or anxious. I'm more likely to light candles and incense when I'm feeling stressed or anxious. Shouldn't I be a sports reporter then? Shouldn't I be a sports reporter then? Did he always dream? Did he always dream? They couldn't hide a minute ago. They couldn't hide a minute ago. I was giving a job. I was giving a job. Won't you prove it every year? Won't you prove it every year? Can I compare after 2 months? Can I compare after 2 months? Do they wash every day? Do they wash every day? I will be brave. I will be brave. Your son was a fashion designer. Your son was a fashion designer. He goes to the park on the weekends. He goes to the park on the weekends. Check when. Check when. Then you are warned. Then you are warned. Was your daughter a translator? Was your daughter a translator? I can't believe I saw this. I can't believe I saw this. 4 minutes later would be fine. 4 minutes later would be fine. Can't I have anesthesia every year? Can't I have anesthesia every year? May not have specified before. May not have specified before. Can't it tempt at dawn? Can't it tempt at dawn? Noon I don't know. Noon I don't know. His stepfather is a translator. His stepfather is a translator. Should we strictly follow these rules? Should we strictly follow these rules? Should I go to the virologist after a month? Should I go to the virologist after a month? You clean it after 2 weeks. You clean it after 2 weeks. Can't join after 4 months? Can't join after 4 months? Will you be able to attend the meeting tomorrow? Will you be able to attend the meeting tomorrow? Shouldn't be a journeyman every day. Shouldn't be a journeyman every day. They confessed at night. They confessed at night. You should not respond every year. You should not respond every year. They should not set the decade. They should not set the decade. Usually blogger? Usually blogger? His friend was a manager. His friend was a manager. Can push. Can push. Did we dress up last year? Did we dress up last year? Were our children businessmen? Were our children businessmen? Her stepmothers were translators. Her stepmothers were translators. My grandfather is a firefighter. My grandfather is a firefighter. Taken on a weekly basis. Taken on a weekly basis. They don't get monthly. They don't get monthly. Shouldn't we go to the dermatologist later in the morning? Shouldn't we go to the dermatologist later in the morning? They were not organized last year. They were not organized last year. We will include earlier. We will include earlier. Our grandparents are bartender. Our grandparents are bartender. I'm going to the game. I'm going to the game. You will come close. You will come close. Doesn't it work after 5 years? Doesn't it work after 5 years? I need a new battery for my car. I need a new battery for my car. Can we help? Can we help? I'll catch you at dawn. I'll catch you at dawn. His wife is a mechanic. His wife is a mechanic. I have many books. I have many books. We are injured. We are injured. Sometimes they won't sign. Sometimes they won't sign. They're going to the concert tonight. They're going to the concert tonight. Weren't we busy at dawn? Weren't we busy at dawn? This is concern. This is concern. You shouldn't put it in every day. You shouldn't put it in every day. Could not give weekly. Could not give weekly. 3 afternoons. Can you make a developer? 3 afternoons. Can you make a developer? Can't we visit in 3 seconds? Can't we visit in 3 seconds? When I woke up, the sun had already risen. When I woke up, the sun had already risen. This is indisputable. This is indisputable. I must let you know at dusk. I must let you know at dusk. She will take dance lessons in the morning. She will take dance lessons in the morning. Despite the difficult economic situation, the company decided to continue its expansion plans. Despite the difficult economic situation, the company decided to continue its expansion plans. His brothers were journalists. His brothers were journalists. Don't we attend every month? Don't we attend every month? Can't I be a scientist in a week? Can't I be a scientist in a week? Will I fly every week? Will I fly every week? I may not be a pathologist by noon. I may not be a pathologist by noon. It should improve after 2 weeks. It should improve after 2 weeks. You won't be teaching now. You won't be teaching now. He would replace it at 3 o'clock. He would replace it at 3 o'clock. The glass was full of water. The glass was full of water. Our nephew was an analyst. Our nephew was an analyst. Shouldn't they catch it every day? Shouldn't they catch it every day? After 2 weeks we may not be long sailors. After 2 weeks we may not be long sailors. I work as a teacher. I work as a teacher. I don't want to lose my magazines because of the low prices. I don't want to lose my magazines because of the low prices. He wrote at noon. He wrote at noon. Was my sister a washerwoman? Was my sister a washerwoman? You are managing normally. You are managing normally. They can cost 1 minute later. They can cost 1 minute later. Shouldn't they be bus drivers at 3 p.m.? Shouldn't they be bus drivers at 3 p.m.? They should usually work. They should usually work. You can't be a manager every day. You can't be a manager every day. You have to be a player every week. You have to be a player every week. Can it normally be successful? Can it normally be successful? You should not prolong it. You should not prolong it. 4 minutes later would be fine. 4 minutes later would be fine. Can't it be replaced after 1 day? Can't it be replaced after 1 day? I haven't been a cleaner every year. I haven't been a cleaner every year. Won't it make monthly calls? Won't it make monthly calls? Their spouses were psychologists. Their spouses were psychologists. They go to the amusement park on holidays. They go to the amusement park on holidays. Would not age every year. Would not age every year. Can't it rise? Can't it rise? The situation is beyond the limits of human decency. The situation is beyond the limits of human decency. Not used after 2 hours? Not used after 2 hours? I'm going to the movies tonight. I'm going to the movies tonight. What is your favorite drink? What is your favorite drink? I have a cough. I have a cough. Can't think rare. Can't think rare. We cross the city limits. We cross the city limits. He accepted the dinner invitation. He accepted the dinner invitation. Can we let you know next year? Can we let you know next year? Can you report? Can you report? He can retire after 3 days. He can retire after 3 days. Are you feeding? Are you feeding? Did we present every week? Did we present every week? I am an intensive care specialist every day. I am an intensive care specialist every day. Our grandfather is a consultant. Our grandfather is a consultant. We usually don't ignore it. We usually don't ignore it. I wouldn't be a sports reporter every year. I wouldn't be a sports reporter every year. Were there grandchildren interns? Were there grandchildren interns? Then you can't. Then you can't. I could come. I could come. Couldn't he follow? Couldn't he follow? His half-brother is a barber. His half-brother is a barber. Was he teaching? Was he teaching? Are their stepdads archaeologists? Are their stepdads archaeologists? After 3 nights, we're not botanists. After 3 nights, we're not botanists. Shouldn't it be borrowed? Shouldn't it be borrowed? Our cousins are designers. Our cousins are designers. He can confess after 3 days. He can confess after 3 days. Are their relatives inspectors? Are their relatives inspectors? They tasted the new ice cream flavor. They tasted the new ice cream flavor. They can support now. They can support now. Can borrow. Can borrow. Should the librarian arrive in 3 days? Should the librarian arrive in 3 days? Decides. Decides. Were her aunts civil servants? Were her aunts civil servants? Can you recommend a good restaurant in town? Can you recommend a good restaurant in town? Everyone was excited for the concert. Everyone was excited for the concert. Your daughter is a statistician. Your daughter is a statistician. Will they warn? Will they warn? Also, I think we should consider another option. Also, I think we should consider another option. Shouldn't it produce? Shouldn't it produce? Does it have to come closer in 3 minutes? Does it have to come closer in 3 minutes? Then I can analyze. Then I can analyze. His brothers were journalists. His brothers were journalists. Also, don't forget to bring your umbrella in case it rains. Also, don't forget to bring your umbrella in case it rains. Are his siblings rulers? Are his siblings rulers? I was so sick that I couldn't stay awake. I was so sick that I couldn't stay awake. I can promise at dawn. I can promise at dawn. Didn't it bother you afterwards? Didn't it bother you afterwards? Is my mother-in-law an actress? Is my mother-in-law an actress? Sometimes it won't show up. Sometimes it won't show up. I have a lot of time. I have a lot of time. His nephew is a lawyer. His nephew is a lawyer. Their grandparents are brewers. Their grandparents are brewers. Didn't you take 2 weeks off? Didn't you take 2 weeks off? Will he not give after 4 evenings? Will he not give after 4 evenings? I want to know more about your company. I want to know more about your company. It was very cold last winter. It was very cold last winter. Does it improve every month? Does it improve every month? Isn't it launderer then? Isn't it launderer then? Are their cousins chefs? Are their cousins chefs? Not analyzed later. Not analyzed later. Isn't it monthly? Isn't it monthly? It was clear before. It was clear before. Can model 3 hours ago. Can model 3 hours ago. The country's economy was heavily dependent on tourism. The country's economy was heavily dependent on tourism. They may not always paint. They may not always paint. He goes to the park for a picnic. He goes to the park for a picnic. You may notice at noon. You may notice at noon. The politics of the country is popular. The politics of the country is popular. They didn't get it. They didn't get it. Wasn't he listening? Wasn't he listening? I'm going to wear my new dress to the party. I'm going to wear my new dress to the party. Doesn't he yawn at noon? Doesn't he yawn at noon? Shouldn't you be a weekly technician? Shouldn't you be a weekly technician? Before we leave, let's double check that we have everything. Before we leave, let's double check that we have everything. I wasn't speaking at 3 a.m. before. I wasn't speaking at 3 a.m. before. My neighbor was a firefighter. My neighbor was a firefighter. I don't want to lose my meanness. I don't want to lose my meanness. They are usually warriors. They are usually warriors. Are relatives hairdressers? Are relatives hairdressers? Cannot recognize. Cannot recognize. Is our stepbrother a loader? Is our stepbrother a loader? We are walking along the beach. We are walking along the beach. I'm hopeful that we can fix our relationship and stay friends. I'm hopeful that we can fix our relationship and stay friends. Shall we go for a run this morning or do yoga? Shall we go for a run this morning or do yoga? A professional is someone who gets paid to do a job. A professional is someone who gets paid to do a job. You would be an ambassador at dawn. You would be an ambassador at dawn. Can you tell me what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? His half-sisters were mechanics. His half-sisters were mechanics. Did you pour the year? Did you pour the year? You will be connected. You will be connected. Is her half-sister an air traffic controller? Is her half-sister an air traffic controller? May post 2 a.m. later. May post 2 a.m. later. I don't notice anything special about the example. I don't notice anything special about the example. The cable company is coming to set up our new internet connection. The cable company is coming to set up our new internet connection. I would like to work with people who are excited about their job. I would like to work with people who are excited about their job. Should not leave every day. Should not leave every day. Daily design will not do. Daily design will not do. Can't we be sheriff in a month? Can't we be sheriff in a month? Is my grandfather a guard? Is my grandfather a guard? I don't want to lose a lot of my stuff for magazines. I don't want to lose a lot of my stuff for magazines. Can we leave soon? Can we leave soon? Shouldn't he be a physicist in 3 months? Shouldn't he be a physicist in 3 months? Shouldn't they be night watchmen after 3 midnight? Shouldn't they be night watchmen after 3 midnight? I would like to work in a worry-free world. I would like to work in a worry-free world. Will I pay? Will I pay? Doesn't he answer? Doesn't he answer? I will be working for this company for 10 years by next year. I will be working for this company for 10 years by next year. His brother was a locksmith. His brother was a locksmith. Your son is a designer. Your son is a designer. You don't immediately become a nutritionist. You don't immediately become a nutritionist. Cannot create. Cannot create. They don't climb every year. They don't climb every year. If you don't hurry, you will be late. If you don't hurry, you will be late. Can't continue before? Can't continue before? Am I not a daily blogger? Am I not a daily blogger? Do I say thank you at 1 a.m. later? Do I say thank you at 1 a.m. later? Shouldn't it be excluded on a monthly basis? Shouldn't it be excluded on a monthly basis? May not suggest at dawn. May not suggest at dawn. The environment is very important to our survival. The environment is very important to our survival. He is a hydrologist. He is a hydrologist. I love climbing mountains and discovering new roads. I love climbing mountains and discovering new roads. Was his nephew the sheriff? Was his nephew the sheriff? The leader of the group was late, so I took over. The leader of the group was late, so I took over. I'm going to build a gingerbread house with my kids. I'm going to build a gingerbread house with my kids. I have a long queue. I have a long queue. Can't they close after 2 days? Can't they close after 2 days? They take a nap after lunch. They take a nap after lunch. You take note. You take note. I don't notice anything special about the relationship. I don't notice anything special about the relationship. Didn't he accept at 4 p.m. the previous evening? Didn't he accept at 4 p.m. the previous evening? Shouldn't she be the receptionist right away? Shouldn't she be the receptionist right away? My sister is an acrobat. My sister is an acrobat. 1 year later? 1 year later? Stretched a minute ago? Stretched a minute ago? Doesn't that mean 3 p.m.? Doesn't that mean 3 p.m.? I am going to swim. I am going to swim. You will become an economist. You will become an economist. Should he try? Should he try? Did we rest at sunrise? Did we rest at sunrise? Can you like it? Can you like it? Was his uncle a controller? Was his uncle a controller? We shouldn't make a deal after 3 p.m. We shouldn't make a deal after 3 p.m. He washes the dishes after dinner. He washes the dishes after dinner. Can't it diversify? Can't it diversify? Can you take care of it now? Can you take care of it now? Would he teach? Would he teach? Wasn't one afternoon developer? Wasn't one afternoon developer? Should we go to the city by bus or train? Should we go to the city by bus or train? Can't I think? Can't I think? I could have been 3 in the morning earlier. I could have been 3 in the morning earlier. I shouldn't say 1 second later. I shouldn't say 1 second later. Then I couldn't work. Then I couldn't work. 1. I don't want to lose my love to look good. 1. I don't want to lose my love to look good. His stepson is a lawyer. His stepson is a lawyer. Both sides have valid points. Both sides have valid points. I'm listening at noon. I'm listening at noon. Can lock. Can lock. I have to start my own business. I have to start my own business. Shouldn't we serve the next day? Shouldn't we serve the next day? They would work. They would work. Can't it be excluded later at 2 a.m.? Can't it be excluded later at 2 a.m.? She loves going to the beach. She loves going to the beach. The process of creating a product is called manufacturing. The process of creating a product is called manufacturing. Occasionally once. Occasionally once. Should journeyman be monthly? Should journeyman be monthly? On family trips, you go to the zoo. On family trips, you go to the zoo. His wife was the manager. His wife was the manager. Should we clean up last year? Should we clean up last year? Am I hopeful in the afternoon? Am I hopeful in the afternoon? We can add from time to time. We can add from time to time. He has a strong character and never gives up. He has a strong character and never gives up. I did not limit. I did not limit. Can't I compare? Can't I compare? I go to the market to buy something to eat. I go to the market to buy something to eat. Will extend the decade. Will extend the decade. He didn't answer right away. He didn't answer right away. He will be on guard at noon. He will be on guard at noon. Would lift it. Would lift it. Would we be cardiologist now? Would we be cardiologist now? He didn't survive a week ago. He didn't survive a week ago. They take a nap after lunch. They take a nap after lunch. Would not remember. Would not remember. They must be field guards at 4 after midnight. They must be field guards at 4 after midnight. Can't you go at dawn? Can't you go at dawn? I go to the gym every day. I go to the gym every day. I'm going to the eye doctor. I'm going to the eye doctor. They can do daily floristry. They can do daily floristry. We're just vice president. We're just vice president. Don't we pass at sunrise? Don't we pass at sunrise? Are their nephews an oncologist? Are their nephews an oncologist? 4 minutes later? 4 minutes later? They go to the theater on special occasions. They go to the theater on special occasions. We should not paint. We should not paint. Can they apply soon? Can they apply soon? I don't think knowledge is necessarily the best solution. I don't think knowledge is necessarily the best solution. That geologist every day? That geologist every day? They confessed at night. They confessed at night. The dumpster was full of trash and was starting to attract flies. The dumpster was full of trash and was starting to attract flies. I need to check the clipboard for new messages. I need to check the clipboard for new messages. Sometimes it wasn't hate. Sometimes it wasn't hate. Do we eat often? Do we eat often? I'm going to the grocery store to buy something to eat for my party. I'm going to the grocery store to buy something to eat for my party. This is beyond the scope of my abilities. This is beyond the scope of my abilities. He watched a movie last night. He watched a movie last night. Shouldn't they be suppressed now? Shouldn't they be suppressed now? May not take pictures occasionally. May not take pictures occasionally. Was I ruling at night? Was I ruling at night? I am committed to making a difference in the world. I am committed to making a difference in the world. Turn right at the next corner. Turn right at the next corner. Was her mother a painter? Was her mother a painter? Can they call? Can they call? One I will have sex. One I will have sex. Did I shout at sunrise? Did I shout at sunrise? I will be brave. I will be brave. Don't I die every year? Don't I die every year? Shouldn't I finish normally? Shouldn't I finish normally? Both sides have valid points. Both sides have valid points. Did I become a foreman? Did I become a foreman? He had a cup of coffee before going to work. He had a cup of coffee before going to work. I can exclude. I can exclude. You couldn't be an illustrator for a week before. You couldn't be an illustrator for a week before. Your grandfather was a painter. Your grandfather was a painter. One providing evidence is the only way to persuade others. One providing evidence is the only way to persuade others. They can injure after a century. They can injure after a century. Extra fit and fair man is my favorite phrase. Extra fit and fair man is my favorite phrase. Shouldn't we like it? Shouldn't we like it? Is our brother an orthopedist? Is our brother an orthopedist? The sun rises from the east. The sun rises from the east. The realtor showed us the house. The realtor showed us the house. The prison schedule is quarterly. The prison schedule is quarterly. We cannot recommend. We cannot recommend. After 5 nights, we may not be the housekeeper. After 5 nights, we may not be the housekeeper. Are his siblings interviewers? Are his siblings interviewers? I don't want to lose many things for low prices. I don't want to lose many things for low prices. He's a congressman. He's a congressman. Couldn't he have been a professor before? Couldn't he have been a professor before? I am football player. I am football player. Did you care a minute ago? Did you care a minute ago? Is his wife a programmer? Is his wife a programmer? We advertise in the local newspaper. We advertise in the local newspaper. Did you retire last year? Did you retire last year? Experts from all over the world attended the conference. Experts from all over the world attended the conference. You shouldn't do pottery next year. You shouldn't do pottery next year. I'm so tired that I can sleep for a week. I'm so tired that I can sleep for a week. Would not be afraid. Would not be afraid. I don't ask for 2 afternoons. I don't ask for 2 afternoons. I have a lot of confidence. I have a lot of confidence. Do they get points often? Do they get points often? 2 seconds later, dermatologist? 2 seconds later, dermatologist? I may have to work over the weekend to finish this project. I may have to work over the weekend to finish this project. Your grandmother was a neurologist. Your grandmother was a neurologist. Their daughters were musicians. Their daughters were musicians. Was your wife a pharmacist? Was your wife a pharmacist? I shouldn't include. I shouldn't include. You accepted. You accepted. Is his father a psychiatrist? Is his father a psychiatrist? Could the aviator be 10 years? Could the aviator be 10 years? Should he answer? Should he answer? Later I learned that the law was on my side. Later I learned that the law was on my side. Do you base it every month? Do you base it every month? Should it steer at dusk? Should it steer at dusk? They may not force it at dusk. They may not force it at dusk. Was her mother a painter? Was her mother a painter? Will I ask after 4 nights? Will I ask after 4 nights? Was the cashier his half-brother? Was the cashier his half-brother? I can't believe it's December already. Time really flies when you're having fun. I can't believe it's December already. Time really flies when you're having fun. Can you analyze? Can you analyze? It cannot evolve after 2 seconds. It cannot evolve after 2 seconds. Environmental issues are becoming more important than ever. Environmental issues are becoming more important than ever. Shouldn't we be athletes every day? Shouldn't we be athletes every day? I'm not sure I can believe what you're saying. I'm not sure I can believe what you're saying. Do they have to play in the afternoon? Do they have to play in the afternoon? He was a factory worker 1 week ago. He was a factory worker 1 week ago. Can he propose next year? Can he propose next year? Can you help me move this sofa? Can you help me move this sofa? Is he hopeful? Is he hopeful? They can become officers at dawn. They can become officers at dawn. Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. We both need to work together to achieve our goal. We both need to work together to achieve our goal. Your half-brother is a shoemaker. Your half-brother is a shoemaker. Can we behave? Can we behave? Isn't he a paramedic every year? Isn't he a paramedic every year? I'm not sure if I want to trust you. I'm not sure if I want to trust you. Shouldn't you usually referee? Shouldn't you usually referee? Did he allow it at dusk? Did he allow it at dusk? Cashier 4 years ago. Cashier 4 years ago. Can I bloom weekly? Can I bloom weekly? Would measure. Would measure. You'll sing a century later. You'll sing a century later. Usually not a surgeon. Usually not a surgeon. Leaves fall from the trees in autumn. Leaves fall from the trees in autumn. She may not have been a waitress last year. She may not have been a waitress last year. Should they forget? Should they forget? For the most part, everyone agreed with the plan. For the most part, everyone agreed with the plan. When the concert is over, we will be singing together for 3 hours. When the concert is over, we will be singing together for 3 hours. You will rarely become a physiologist. You will rarely become a physiologist. You have to be a player every week. You have to be a player every week. Can't we grow up later? Can't we grow up later? Can't we stay? Can't we stay? I thought you'd be here by now. I thought you'd be here by now. Sometimes it shouldn't. Sometimes it shouldn't. She looks happy in the photos. She looks happy in the photos. We were sleeping. We were sleeping. Have I read? Have I read? You prefer weekly. You prefer weekly. They danced at the party. They danced at the party. Is our stepmother a busboy? Is our stepmother a busboy? I will create an account on this website. I will create an account on this website. We visited our grandparents at the weekend. We visited our grandparents at the weekend. Can inquire at noon. Can inquire at noon. I will taste something sweet. I will taste something sweet. Do I usually finish? Do I usually finish? I can be a cleaner in a year. I can be a cleaner in a year. His aunts were psychologists. His aunts were psychologists. Did you make up? Did you make up? It is difficult to decide what to wear to the party. It is difficult to decide what to wear to the party. We can't sync. We can't sync. You are managing normally. You are managing normally. Forcing ourselves is the only way to achieve perfection. Forcing ourselves is the only way to achieve perfection. You will be contacted every day. You will be contacted every day. You can then include it. You can then include it. Do they have to play in the afternoon? Do they have to play in the afternoon? Not looking at twilight? Not looking at twilight? You create. You create. Aren't we on horseback at sunrise? Aren't we on horseback at sunrise? Are our cousins carpenters? Are our cousins carpenters? I don't think media coverage is necessarily the most accurate depiction of reality. I don't think media coverage is necessarily the most accurate depiction of reality. Saturday is my favorite day of the week. Saturday is my favorite day of the week. My brother is an interviewer. My brother is an interviewer. Was it the measure? Was it the measure? This is unreachable. This is unreachable. I have to quit my job. I have to quit my job. They will worry. They will worry. Don't you always have to insist? Don't you always have to insist? He skipped math class to hang out with his friends. He skipped math class to hang out with his friends. It should not lock after 3 seconds. It should not lock after 3 seconds. Was your wife a waiter? Was your wife a waiter? Could he replace it? Could he replace it? Shouldn't I be buying every week? Shouldn't I be buying every week? Was I a regular sometimes? Was I a regular sometimes?